It will be an interesting drive out on the roads tomorrow for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that kind of 95 corridor in the southern part of the state is going to be okay, but that's a very small percentage of the state.
Yeah,
so
most of the state.
Most of the state is not in that realm. So we're going to talk about where we are with this storm, which is just starting to get its legs under it, as I said, into this Cincinnati area, the Ohio Valley. And this storm, as with many of our nor'easters, isn't really much of anything until it gets into the mid-Atlantic and eventually into the Gulf of Maine and starts getting a little bit more strength to it. So tonight is going to be quiet. There's really nothing going on. Temperatures dropping down to freezing or a little bit below. And even tomorrow morning, depending on the time you wake up, of course, but I think it's quiet and cloudy. This is at 7 o'clock. And you can see just a couple of sprinkles maybe down towards Kittery. So if you're right near the border, there could be a few. Most of us, though, cloudy, quiet through the morning. It's mid to late morning from southwest to northeast that we start to build in this precipitation. So 11 o'clock, still half the state is dry. But initially, even in places like Lewiston and Augusta, out towards Cornish, we likely start as rain, even though that won't be the majority of the storm. The coast will be rain here through the middle of the day. It'll be snow in the foothills and mountains. And as the day progresses, we'll see that rain intensify along the coastline, that rain-snow line cheating itself towards the coast through the afternoon. But I think at this point, this is 3, 4 o'clock, snow's happening in a lot of spots, but it's not super efficient. And the sun angle's still helping us keep the roads relatively clear. And I think that's going to help us a lot until sunset. So inefficient accumulation, it's accumulating on grass and decks and all that other stuff that you're going to send us pictures of. But on the roads, I think we're okay. Sunset comes, though, which is early, 4 o'clock, and then I think things fall apart pretty quickly. The snow gets a lot more efficient in accumulation. The winds turn north at the same time, and so we could be putting down snowfall rates of 1 to 1.5 inches an hour, not far from the coast at that point. Certainly Lewiston and Augusta could be involved in that, down to Sanford, northwest of there into the foothills and mountains. The coast will be right on the line. I think we will probably crash to snow briefly. I don't think there's much accumulation there. Still snowing 9, 10, 11 o'clock, midnight across down east and northern Maine. Then we move this thing out by Friday morning. So to be clear here, verbatim, if you take the European model, which was right again, worth noting, and the GFS at a 10-to-1 ratio, which is the normal way to look at snowfall, this is a 10 to 14 or 10 to 15. But I'm taking into account the fact that the snow is going to be heavy and wet, which could cause some isolated power outages, but it means there will be less of it. Plus, we'll have several hours during the day where it's not efficiently accumulating. That's how we get to 6 to 8 inches. That's kind of the human input to this. 3 to 6 inches just outside that range, right on the edge is Lewiston and Augusta, and then under an inch along the coastline. And the reason I didn't put Augusta in 3 to 6 is because this low has gotten so amped that it's tracked just a little bit farther west with it. As far as timing, we kind of just talked about this, but sometimes graphics help. It's fine. 9 a.m., noon's fine. 3's fine along the coast and just a bit inland. It's probably tricky in the mountains. And then 6, unless you're right along the coastline, is where it's going to be tough for pretty much everyone. So I'm thinking about the going home, guys, more than I am the going to Thanksgiving, depending on when I know people kind of vary when they do that. Some do it as like a lunch, some do it as a dinner. Either way, a little bit rough tomorrow night. Power outages, just briefly again. Upside, not a whole lot of wind. Downside, kind of cementy snow out there, especially in the transition zones. The mountains and foothills will be sticky, but it's the spots that will be going back and forth between rain and snow that will have some really sticky snow. So I know CMP is a little worried about that aspect of it because that can cause some power outages.
Right, be prepared.
And I know Amanda was pointing out at 4, I believe it was, that not to be mistaken, the temperature stays cold after this.
Yes.
So we'll be looking at the snow for a little while.
Yeah, if you get several inches, it's going to be here for a little while because we're in the 30s during the day and then 20s and teens overnight.
Okay,
Yeah.
Keith, thank you.